In the seemingly safe confines of a university, darkness can sometimes lurk where we least expect it. The case of Zulfarhan Osman Zulkarnain is not just the tragic death of a young student, but a wake-up call about violence and indifference hidden within dormitory walls. A place where those thought to be friends became ruthless aggressors. The horrific wounds and unbearable pain Zulfarhan endured before his death shocked an entire nation, leaving haunting, unanswered questions. Why? And how could such brutality unfold without anyone speaking up in time? Welcome to Ken Investigates, True Crime. In today's investigation, we're delving into the tragic case of Zulfarhan Osman Zulkarnain, a young naval cadet at the National Defense University of Malaysia. This case is not just a story of one man's suffering, but a testament to the devastating impact of unchecked violence and the toxic power dynamics that can unfold in educational institutions. Join me as we piece together the details of this haunting case to understand what really happened. Zulfarhan Osman Zulkarnain was born on November 29, 1996 in Johor Bahru, Malaysia. At the young age of 20, he was the eldest sibling in his family and a promising third-year student and naval cadet at the National Defense University of Malaysia. On June 1, 2017, after enduring days of excruciating pain, he passed away at Serdang Hospital. Today we ask, how did this aspiring cadet fall victim to such a horrifying fate? Our investigation reveals that everything began with a missing laptop. One of the accused, Muhammad Akmal Zuhairi Azmal, reported his laptop missing and immediately suspected Zulfarhan. Despite Zulfarhan's repeated denials, Akmal's suspicions deepened and rumors began to circulate among students. This is where the case takes an unsettling turn. A witness testified that Akmal's father, a self-proclaimed shaman, supposedly conducted a ritual that identified Zulfarhan as the thief. The fact that several students placed their trust in this superstitious claim is indicative of the powerful influence of misinformation within close-knit communities. As an investigator, I find it profoundly troubling to see how quickly superstition and baseless accusations can ignite suspicion and prejudice among students, particularly in an environment where rational thinking and unity should prevail. On May 21st, Zulfarhan was detained by a group of students in room 410 of the dormitory. This was no ordinary confrontation. This was a calculated effort to force a confession. The assaults escalated the following day when 6 individuals employed a steam iron, inflicting burns on various parts of his body, including areas where pain would be most unbearable. The extent of cruelty here points to a dangerous lack of empathy and unchecked aggression. But a key question remains. Why did no one intervene? Was the fear of retribution so overpowering that it silenced all voices of reason and compassion? Witnesses emerged, some attempting to intervene, others feeling helplessly trapped. S. Hari Krishna Rao, a 22-year-old medical student, testified that he asked Zulfarhan if he had entered Akmal's room. Zulfarhan firmly denied it, maintaining his innocence, a vital detail that reinforces the unjustified nature of the attacks. Nurul Shuhadamed Jamayan, Zulfarhan's girlfriend and a final-year student in human resources, testified that Zulfarhan called her during the torture. She recalled his words as he tried to convey his pain and suffering, revealing that he was being accused and attacked over a laptop he hadn't stolen. From an investigative perspective, this call is a stark example of a cry for help, a direct and emotional communication that was unfortunately not enough to save him. Other witnesses, such as Zulfarhan's roommate Mahad Syafiq Abdullah, could identify the individuals involved in the assault. Though he couldn't recall every area burned on Zulfarhan's body, he couldn't erase the horrific memory of that night. Similarly, Muhammad Ilham Zamri, a friend since they were 16, saw one of the accused carrying a steam iron, though he didn't directly witness the assault. These accounts demonstrate that while some students were aware of the escalating violence, a combination of fear and helplessness kept them from fully intervening. One friend, Muhammad Ayman Alfa Asmadi Effendi, tried to alert the university administration by sending 2 anonymous letters describing Zulfarhan's abuse. Yet he too was consumed by fear of retaliation, halting his efforts. His remorse after Zulfarhan's death is a chilling reminder of the paralyzing power of fear. This situation underscores a harsh reality in criminal investigations. Silence often becomes the accomplice of injustice. Ahmad Senabil Muhammad, a human resources management student, provided further testimony about the assaults, recounting the painful details of what he had seen. Such testimonies reveal the shocking inaction among those who witnessed or knew of the torture, posing the disturbing question of how many more would have suffered in silence if Zulfarhan's story had not come to light. When Zulfarhan finally arrived at the hospital, his body bore over 90 wounds, with burns covering 80% of his skin. Many of these were third-degree burns. The medical evidence led authorities to classify his case as a brutal act of torture. Initially, the Kuala Lumpur High Court sentenced the main perpetrators to manslaughter, but in July 2024, the Court of Appeal escalated the charges to murder, issuing death sentences and noting the defendants' blatant disregard for human life. The verdict has been divisive, with some organizations such as Su Hakam and MadPet opposing the death penalty, advocating instead for rehabilitation. On the other hand, the Malaysian Crime Prevention Foundation argued that the sentencing was appropriate, highlighting that the act of torturing someone to death is an unthinkable breach of human ethics. As an investigator, I see the complexities here. While the call for mercy is understandable, it's hard to reconcile such leniency with crimes as severe and monstrous as this. Zulfarhan Osman Zulkarnain's tragic story serves as a haunting reminder of the devastating consequences of bullying and unchecked cruelty within institutions that should be safe havens for growth and learning. This case calls for urgent attention from educational institutions and families alike. For those of us dedicated to uncovering the truth, Zulfarhan's story is a stark reminder that silence and hesitation in the face of inhumanity can be as fatal as the acts themselves. If you have thoughts or opinions on this case, share them in the comments below. And don't forget to subscribe to Ken Investigates True Crime as we continue to unearth the dark truths behind cases like this one. See you in the next investigation. Until then, take care, and remember, the search for truth never stops.